Hi, it's Eddie here from Progressive Sports. I've managed to pin Paul down just for a quick chat and a quick conversation about our brand new Awakening programme. Before we delve into the programme, I've got a few questions I'd just like to ask. And
Not too many.
Not too many, just a few questions, just have a short chinwag. First question, is there anything we can do to eliminate the fear?
Of what's going on right now?
What's going on right now at the moment?
You're not making easy this on me, are you? It's just
Mate,
straight to the jugular.
Straight in with the big question.
Oh, what can we do? Oh, there is. Firstly, I would be mindful of how much information we're putting into the brain. I personally have deleted any news apps.
That's a good tip, actually.
Right, honestly, because the moment you get up in the morning, it's COVID to the minute you go to bed, and there's nobody forcing us to watch all of this, you know. And I think it's important to point out that the physical body doesn't know the difference between what's reality and what's fantasy. Therefore, it sees anything fearful in our brains as a stress, as an alarm system. So even something that's not real, the brain is perceiving it to be real. So that's when you sort of wake up in the middle of the night and you've got your heart palpitations, and then you're losing weight, you're losing sleep, and all this kind of stuff going on, because the brain thinks there is a physical threat in the room, and the threat in the room
It's
is
that
COVID.
fight or flight thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
mate, it's exactly that. Yeah, so I think we can be mindful of how much we're allowing to watch, how much we're allowing to read, and also just
because we've got to be careful as well, haven't we, Paul? The media.
I know.
Oh,
we're going there. We're going there already.
We might dip our toes slightly, but maybe not go too much. But we've got to be careful, haven't we?
The media,
be careful what goes in here, because it can have, a real negative effect, can't it? And that can only exasperate the fear that some people.
Negative effect. I saw poor old Dominic Cummings as a cutout in one of the papers of the day. You could cut him out and you could chuck darts at him.
Did you?
Mate, I'm remaining impartial in this.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking at the time, though, how is that helpful?
Yeah, it's not, is it?
No, not really. So I'm very aware of what I'm putting into my head at the moment. Because also I'm worried about the fact that we're going to come through this. We're going to come through this, and what's going to be the repercussions the other side of COVID?
Yeah.
So are we frantically going to be washing our hands for the next 10 years?
Well, clearly not.
Well, I failed. I even washed myself today, never mind my hands. But you know what I mean? It's like, it is that, and it's like, I was watching something on the TV the other day, and I thought, that person's standing too close to that other person. It was a film from about 1995.
It's weird how it subconsciously starts to affect you, doesn't it?
So I think I personally think it's as important to be mindful and look after your mental health as it is to doing all the guidelines that the government is telling us to do.
Yeah.
So.
And what about, obviously, during lockdown, where we were, all locked down for certain periods, and we've now got obviously other parts of the country that are going into tier 3 lockdowns.
I'm confused by it,
that again, that's another topic, isn't it, for us to get into. In terms of those feelings of, isolation, how do people sort of cope with that? Because we all want to be around other people, and we've all had to forfeit that for a period, haven't we?
I think it comes back to our ancestors, our tribal instincts. Back in the day, we belonged as part of a tribe, and this is where the acceptance comes from. So we need to be accepted into our tribe, because back in the day, if we weren't accepted in the tribe, we would starve to death. So if we're on the outer reaches of what would be a tribal circle, we would either freeze to death or starve to death, because we'd just be alienated from that tribe, right? It's not too dissimilar now. So that's why you want to be part of a social circle. You want to do well at work. You want that acceptance into society. And all of a sudden you're being locked down in your house, away from your career, away from your family, away from your loved ones, and that's when that starts to creep in, right? So that starts to creep in, and you start feeling unworthy, out of the circle. No, you're still in a circle. I think it's important to keep that in.
Because I have to say, I kind of felt that disconnection, working, not working in the office, and actually I remember being in here in June, just myself and Emily, and it still felt really, really weird. I was just kind of waiting for that day where more people would come into the office and that connection, that tribe starts to get back together, and it was weird how much we kind of missed that connection. It's so important, isn't it, us as human beings?
It is. My sense of freedom is really, really important and valuable to me. So is me staying alive. I think it's important to point out. But my sense of freedom is equally as important, you know. So I'm trying to get the balance right. Yeah. And I do feel, if I was going to say one message out there, that it's important to get the balance right. The balance right in organisations, in companies, in schools, and to get that dynamic right, which leads me perfectly onto the Awakening programme.
Yeah.
Because the Awakening programme, with what we want to try and do with that, is to instill those values back into the school, back into the company, so we can talk about a right balance. It's like resetting the vibration of an environment. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Let's do it now. Pop me pong. Let's have a look. So here, these are ancient Tibetan sound bowls, and they if you've got a reset button. I hope you're picking this up. You automatically feel calmer.
Calmer, yeah.
Because they work on different frequencies. Some of these, I don't know which one it is, 'cause I'm not an expert, but some of them are the same frequency as perhaps a bird song. I think Mozart used to write it in 432 hertz as well, which automatically calms us down. So it sends a vibration. Can you imagine if we could put that into an organisation, or if we could put that and everything that goes with it into a school, and just to quite simply say, you know, everything's going to be okay. And the fact is, when a river's flowing, he never really knows where it's going. It just flows. Yeah. The moment you try and cross the river and cross the currents, that's when you run into problems.
And that's an important message. Everything is going to be okay, isn't it, really? And I think
I have got a poem for that, but I'm not going to do it now.
No, not to do it now. Save that for another. Save that for another time. Because I think sometimes, you know, you look at I look at my daughter, you know, and I think her approach to the way she approaches the day, every hour, every minute, is so refreshing, isn't it? And I think as adults, we sometimes complicate things too much, isn't it? And I think just staying in those moments are so important, isn't it? Not looking too far in front, not looking too far back, and just staying in that moment. I think it's an important lesson as well, isn't it?
The power of now, as my old mate Eckhart Tolle talks about and wrote a book about. You know, the only thing that we ever really own is in the present moment. And for the moment, the moment we wake up in the morning, we are we're the sum total of everything that's happened to us, and that's including our memories and our problems, and those problems automatically wake up with us. Therefore, we have subconsciously put ourselves into the past and into all the things that have made us fearful, rather than looking forward to this is a brand new day, I'm going to do this. No, you're thinking about the time when your car broke down yesterday and all the problems that are associated. So the present. We're always, you know what I think, Ed? We're always looking over the shoulder of the present moments. We're never really in it.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't
it? You know what I mean? It is. It just feels like we're never really there. We're always thinking it's going to be better in the future.
And it can create anxiety, can't it? If we kind of start living too much in the future and the past and not living in that moment. I think also just overthinking things sometimes. You know, if I think about, I mean, naturally we've been through quite a stressful period, and has it affected me? I'd say going back, you know, to the very beginning.
You've had a sleepless night to go. Well, that was that pause.
I've had a few. But since you've been here, Paul, it's been a lot less stressful.
Good, I like to hear.
Nice ambience.
Yeah, good. But I think the incense sticks.
Yeah, that is the incense sticks. But I think we're all sometimes a bit guilty of overthinking things, isn't it? Yeah. I definitely have been, I suppose, in those moments in my own head, you know, through it during lockdown, and you know is the business going to survive through this, and all those kind of thoughts that start coming into your head. And it's, you know, it's how we manage that, isn't it, really? Because if we if we let it, it can really, really sort of affect us, can't it? Isn't it?
I have got some advice for anybody who's having sleepless nights, right? It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you're sitting there, your mind's going over, maybe you're thinking about a relationship, money problems and so on. The first thing you need to do is be aware that you're having those thoughts, right? And the thoughts are controlling you, not the other way around. Yeah. And you're conscious, it's almost like you can step outside of your body and see yourself having the thoughts. And then what you've got to ask yourself is, how helpful is this thought now? Yeah. Can I really do anything about the situation now? Yeah. Because you're dreading something that's going to happen in the future, or it may not even happen, because 97% of things don't happen to us anyway that we worry about. And it was Mark Twain that once said, worrying is like paying a debt that you don't ever owe.
And your thoughts are not your reality as well, are they?
No, because if we are our thoughts, who's having our thoughts, so.
Which is so true, true, isn't it?
The essence of who we are, and being aware that you are not, sometimes you can say, I know, your backside's too big, you need to lose weight, you need to do this, you can't do that because a family member told you weren't going to be any good, your ex-partner said you couldn't do that because you were a loser, and you take all of this in. It's not true. No. It's not true. No. It's just other people's opinion, and then your thoughts telling you that, and this is what COVID is. 2 meters distance, do this, don't do that, go into here, make sure you're home here, and before you know where your sense of freedom's gone. That's fine. I would stay within the guidelines of the law and safety and so on. I'm not saying not to do that, but just be careful. Be careful. And I think with the Awakening program, if we can go in and almost like rustle up a whole sense of resilience, determination, and let young people know that this isn't here forever, and they can do the things they really want to do, and their dreams are still there. Their dreams are still there. And if you want something, you will find a way of getting it. There's loads of people wandering around with a victim t-shirt saying, I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to do that, and they've defeated themselves in their brain before they've even put the shoes on.
They're limiting beliefs, isn't it? It's stopping them achieve certain things that they could achieve. I see it all the time, Ed. I see it all the time, especially it doesn't matter where I go, there's always something that they think that's... I'm reading this book by Seneca, right? And it's about the shortness of life, and he says it's not that life is short, it's the things that we choose to do with our lives that make it short. So you may be into, putting all your time into being physically fit, for example, too much so, or all your time into building a business, or all your time into making money, or all your time into... If we could just get that balance right and have a contented, more fulfilled life, where the first cup of coffee you get up in the morning, you have that, and you think, well, actually... That's just, it's never going to get any better than that. That depending if you like coffee. All the drinks are available. So there's some great, words of advice and things that you've said there. But if you were to give, one single piece of advice, again, another big question.
Best piece of advice?
Best piece of advice to give anyone, what would that be?
The best bit of advice in my 50 frail years of being on this earth, I would definitely say... it is that we keep a bit of us in there. Because the essence of who we are, not that all of us know who we are, we don't always know who we are. You can see this when you see somebody in a bus shelter or on a bus, and they can't be happy with their own personality, their own time. They can't spend any... How much are you one of those people who can't be with yourself?
It's a common...
You have to stare at a phone, you need some distraction, you need to... whatever. So I think...
And we live in a noisy world, don't we, really? And just stopping all that distraction is so important. And just
it is.
Getting back to what, in some ways, is a simpler being, isn't it? It's a simpler way.
We've just got to look back to our ancestors and how they survived things like this. But not drag our own personal issues into the present moments. So, I think it was, I don't know who it was, Marcus Aurelius or someone said, be careful you don't fall over or trip over on the things that are behind you. How many do that? You start a new relationship with a new person, but you bring up your old stuff. And you wonder why it's not worked out the fourth time, or the fourth marriage. Not that I'm on my fourth marriage. Maybe I'm heading towards my second. But no, just keep it a bit, Ed, just keeping a bit that you can go back to.
Yeah, that's
You know,
important.
keep a bit of you really there so you can go back
keep
to.
it real.
You know, let people take stuff away from you.
Yeah,
That's the
100%.
best advice.
No.